Welcome. My name is Mariette Stephenson. I'm currently a lecturer for the Community Music Program at Wilfrid Laurier University. I am music director for the Kitchener-Waterloo Guitar Orchestra, an arranger, and guitar history researcher, most recently focusing on Mabel Downing's contributions to British ladies' guitar bands. This is a presentation for a Classical Guitar Corner, an introduction to Francesca Caccini and her music. The guitar has been played as a solo instrument and in various ensemble formats for hundreds of years. In the late 1700s and early 1800s, it exploded in popularity in Europe, this period often referred to as guitaromania. France and Italy were the main centers for this guitar craze. There were highly respected performers, many composers were writing for the instrument, publishers were churning out guitar music to meet public demand as a solo instrument, accompaniment for other instruments, and guitar ensembles. Prior to this, Baroque guitar and its relatives, such as the lute and viola, were featured as both solo and ensemble instruments. These ensembles usually included other instruments, for example harpsichord, bowed string instruments, and woodwinds, and were a precursor to what we know as a standard orchestra today. They varied in size and instrumentation based on what instruments were available, and could have one person or more per part. We know that women often played in these ensembles, for example the Concerto delle Donne, established in 1588 by the female composer and lutenist Leonora Orsini, and that music education was part of a respectable young lady's tutelage before marriage. Not only did women perform in these groups, but they composed for them as well. The most renowned from this time, whose music is still in existence today, include Francesca Caccini, Barbara Strozzi, Leonora Orsini, and Maddalena Casulana, all from Italy, Mademoiselle Bouquet from France, and Leonora Duarce in Portugal. In this presentation, I will focus on Francesca Caccini and her contributions to music at this time, and the Baroque guitar and lute. Francesca Caccini was born in Florence, Italy, and was a preeminent composer, singer, and music teacher in the early Baroque era. I would like to thank my friend Chantal Bress for her research on paintings of Francesca Caccini. She discovered that none of the paintings said to be of Caccini in existence are actually of her. They were either created before her birth or after her death. The cameo of her as a grown woman shown later was only created when she was a little girl, so is not an actual depiction of her as a grown woman. She was known by the nickname La Cecchina, or Songbird. She was born into a very musical family. Her father was a composer and singer. His name was Giulio Caccini, and her mother, Lucia, was a singer. Her sister, Settimia, became a composer and a singer as well. Her father was her primary teacher as a child for music, and she also received studies in literature, mathematics, Latin, and Greek. Giulio Caccini was highly regarded as a vocal teacher and composer, and is credited with his work in developing stile recitativo, a style of singing in the early Baroque period that led to the development of opera. Her family staged music productions, and when she was 13, she made her professional debut as a singer in her father's opera Eurydice, which was staged during the wedding festivities for Maria de' Medici and Henry IV of France. Her talents in this opera so impressed the French king that he offered her a position of musician at his court, but the Duke of Florence objected to this, and so she stayed in Florence with her family. As well as becoming a singer, she played many instruments, including the lute, guitar, and harp. Her first composition was La Stiava, and was performed for the first time in 1607. The following year she began to work with the poet Michelangelo Buonarroti to write music for the Medici family. Her talents were so impressive that she was lauded by Claudio Monteverdi in 1610 for her singing and her abilities on guitar, lute, and harpsichord. By 1614, Caccini was the highest paid musician in the Medici household, and part of her duties was to teach music to the members of the court. Many of her compositions are lost, but those that survived include a book of 36 songs with figured bass accompaniment, published in 1618. The songs are divided into sacred and secular works, dealing with joy, sorrow, and romance. The other work in existence is her opera La Liberazione di Ruggiero, which she wrote to commemorate a visit by the Crown Prince of Poland, Ladislaus Sigismondo. She married Giovanni Battista Signorini in 1607, and they had a child, Margherita. After her husband's death in 1626, she then married Tommaso Raffaelli, a nobleman. In 1628, they had a son, Tommaso. 2 years later, her second husband died. After Raffaelli's death, Caccini returned to Florence and resumed her work as a music teacher at the Medici court until her death sometime around 1641. It is not known for sure when she passed away. Many events made Caccini's success possible in a time where women were not encouraged to become professional composers. Having been born into a family with a renowned composer and vocal teacher for a father certainly helped. Also, she was lucky to have the Medicis as patrons, especially to have Christina of Lorraine as a member of the Medici court. Christina of Lorraine was daughter of Charles III of Lorraine and his wife Claude of Valois, and granddaughter of Catherine de' Medici. In 1587, Francesco de' Medici, the Grand Duke of Tuscany, died without a legitimate male heir. His brother Ferdinando immediately declared himself the third Grand Duke of Tuscany. Seeking a marriage that would preserve his political independence, Ferdinando chose his distant cousin, Christine of Lorraine, to be his wife. It was a political marriage to realign the Medici with France, not Spain. Christina's husband died in early 1609, shortly after her son, Grand Duke Cosimo, had wed. Grand Duke Cosimo II was only 19 when he assumed power, but Christina stayed a dominant force at the court. Her son died in 1621, leaving his 10-year-old son Ferdinando II as Grand Duke. Christina and her daughter-in-law, Maria Magdalena of Austria, acted as regents until the boy became of age. The Medici court under Christina promoted talented women, and Caccini flourished under her patronage. Although her songbook has only vocal parts with figured bass accompaniment, it was understood that any solo chordal accompaniment instrument or group of instruments could be used. Lutes and Baroque guitars would have been used frequently, and as many ladies of the court were trained by Caccini, it is safe to assume that this type of accompaniment would have been provided for court entertainments and performances on a regular basis. To learn more about Francesca Caccini, I have included this brief reading list. If you would like to discover the music of more women composers, please visit the following sites. Here is a video of some of my arrangements of Francesca Caccini's music for solo guitar, available at stringsbymail.com. I want to thank everyone at Classical Guitar Corner and all of you for watching this presentation. Thank you.